Good morning, everyone. It is June 24th, and it is Monday morning at 7:30 a.m., and this is another session of Daily Spiritual Medicine. We are now every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and I'm doing that for the time being because of so many things that I have going on, and I know that I can definitely be on those days unless something were to happen that made it different. So we're here this morning, and it's good to be back. And this morning, before we get started, please hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already. Doesn't cost you anything. And hit the like button, make a comment, and share it with somebody. It helps me to be able to do more on these platforms throughout the internet. And it means a lot to everybody for us to be able to spread this message, and you want to be a part of it. I know you want to be a part of it. And so also, if you look on the super chat, you will see a little sign down there. There is the dollar sign, and that helps me to be able to pay for all these things that I'm doing. And you can click on that little dollar sign and put in $1 or five or whatever it might be, 10 or whatever you want to put in. You can feel welcome to put it in, and it will be used for what we are doing in our understanding today. So this morning, I want to start on our daily spiritual medicine, and I am going to speak on a controversial subject somewhat, just for a few minutes and give you a chance to think about it. And that is, are real prophecies and visions precise? When someone has a vision or a prophecy, does it have to be precisely the way that they had the vision or the way they spoke the prophecy for it to be real? And we know what Moses said. He said, if there be a prophet among you, he will, what he says will come to pass. And if it comes to pass, hear him. And if it doesn't, don't hear him. And we all use that a lot to say, this man's false and this man's false and this man's true, because we look and we want to see that the vision and the prophecy, whatever it might be, they're two different things, but we want to see them as perfect and precise and right on the button, or else here's another false leader and here's another guy that's done all these, saying all these things, and he's a liar and he's this and he's that, and everyone's real good at doing that. So I want to talk on that for just a few minutes. Are real prophecies and visions precise? Do they have to be perfect? And I want to read this first. And one of our prophets, Paul, made this statement. He said, "Charity never faileth." So real love never fails. Okay. And so, more than anything else, get love, love one another, the commandment of love, do that. But he says, charity never faileth. But whether there be prophecies, they shall fail. There are times when prophecies will come forth and they will fail. Prophecies are not perfect. Prophecies are not precise. He goes on, whether there be tongues, they shall cease. And whether there be knowledge, it shall vanish away. So there are many tongues that have ceased. I can name you off tribe after tribe after tribe of just Native Americans over the last 200 years, that their language, their tongue has ceased. And then I can show you prophecies that many people have made that never came to pass. And we can take a look and see that knowledge vanishes away. Well, there was a scientist one time that said if you can roll a ball across the face of the earth at 40 miles an hour, it will lose its gravitation and go out into space. Well, that knowledge vanished away. We know that's not true. So knowledge vanishes. Something else replaces it, something more sophisticated, more understanding, more provable, more evidence, more fact, all kinds of things. So I want to read a prophecy here that maybe it'll help you to realize that prophecies are not precise. Visions are not either. Notice, but I will send a fire on the wall of Gaza, which shall devour the places thereof. Amos 1 and verse 7. Amos is looking at Gaza, the same Gaza that we are looking at today. And he makes a statement about Gaza back then. Is this prophecy for today? Is it? It's not precise, but I will tell you this. Take a look at the history books of Gaza since World War II, just the Gaza Strip. Take a look at the history books of Gaza since World War II, and you'll see that Amos gave a prophecy. And he saw a vision of Gaza under the curse of war for almost 100 years, ever since almost World War I. There's been a fight over that whole strip and that whole territory. And a lot of people say, well, yeah, that was God, and he was sending his people, the Jews, back home again. Well, is that really true? 1946, I think, or 48, they flew the flag in 46. They became United Nations in 48. But who's living over there? It's not Jewish people. It is people from the European countries, the Slavs, the Czechs, the Yugos, the on and on and on. And it's people who formed a Zionist movement. It's even called that, a Zionist movement. And that's not real true Israel, but it is a symbol of real true Israel. And it is not precise, that's not their homeland. It talked about how that they would go to their homeland. In the end, after 2,000 years of having all these troubles, they would return to their homeland. Hosea said, after 2 days and the third day will I raise them up. Well, where was their homeland? Where did over 6 million of them go? And you would say, well, Brother Parnell, what are you talking about? Fernandez, Mussolini, Stalin, Hitler. You could just keep naming all of the dictators who begin to slaughter and kill, and real true Jewish people of the Abrahamic seed line were being sent home on a daily basis by the hundreds of thousands, and home being across the veil. That was, they were given the chance to get out of all of that persecution by moving on. So we weigh it out and we say, well, that over there is Israel. Not really, but it is a symbol. It is a prophecy. It's just not so precise that it's the people that the Lord was speaking of when he spoke through different ones. Now, Gaza is the same way. But I will send a fire on the wall of Gaza, which shall devour the places thereof. And that's what Amos said. And look at what's happening. For 100 years on the wall of Gaza, on that whole strip, you've had everything from Hezbollah to all kinds of terrorist groups left and right moving in there, Israel going in, trying to settle it down, terrorist groups coming back in, United Nations telling them to back off, and Gaza has been bombed and bombed and bombed, and the walls of Gaza have been torn down with fire or with explosions and everything else. So you see the prophecy. You say, Brother Parnell, was that really a prophecy? Well, it is to me. I can look at it very plainly and see Gaza going through hell just like he said. And when you read the history books, you find out that it's been going on for about 100 years. Now, Obadiah, he makes a statement, and this is another prophecy. I'm showing you that prophecies do not have to be precise. It doesn't have to have everything in it for the prophecy to be coming to pass or the vision. Obadiah said, though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, and though thou set thy nest among the stars, thence will I bring thee down, saith the Lord. Now, we know that in, I think it was 1969, somewhere in there, they went to the moon. And we know that the thing that they put on the moon with the American flag, so to speak, they called it the nest. And here Obadiah is giving a prophecy, though thou exalt thyself as the eagle. And what is the emblem of America? The eagle. And what did America do? They positioned themselves to say we went to the moon. Now, whether they did or not, I don't know. I kind of doubt it. But is that a prophecy? Obadiah wasn't stating facts. He was looking and seeing something and writing it down, and how that it would come to pass one day, and how it would be interpreted one day, and how it would actually happen one day. But it wasn't precise, because he said, thou exalt thyself as an eagle, which they did. And though thou set thy nest among the stars, to the moon, set it up, called it the nest, thence will I bring thee down, saith the Lord. And take a look from back there, 1969, generation ago, and look at it now. And if America hasn't been brought down by filth, ungodliness, Hollywood, pedophilia, corrupt politics, on and on and on, what in the world would you call it other than I will bring thee down, saith the Lord? Now, so Obadiah's seen it. Is it precise? No, but it's real. It might not be what you interpreted it to be. You say, well, California is going to sink. Well, maybe it will, but I don't see how it can sink much lower than it has, no matter where it goes. So we see this going on. Now, here's another one. The shield of his mighty men is made red. The valiant men are in scarlet. The chariot shall be with flaming torches in the day of his preparation, and the fir trees shall be terribly shaken. Fir trees being judgment. The judgment of the Lord will strike the earth, and mighty men will be wearing scarlet, blood, war, everything going on. And the chariot shall be with flaming torches. Now here's Nahum, and he's looking out into the future. He doesn't know what he's seeing. His prophecy isn't precise. His vision isn't perfect, because he said men would be in red and they would wear scarlet, and their chariots shall be with flaming torches. What do you think headlights are on automobiles? Flaming torches to him. And watching these chariots, he called them chariots. He didn't call them automobiles. He didn't call them vehicles. He didn't call them all the things we call them, Fords and Chevys and Mercuries. He didn't say the Ford, Chevys, and Mercuries shall be with flaming torches and headlights in the day of the preparation and of the judgment of the Lord. But he said the chariots shall rage in the streets. Look at them. Everywhere, raging in the streets. They shall jostle one against another in the broadways. What are they doing? Wrecks everywhere. If you think they don't have wrecks everywhere, drive through Dayton one morning. Wrecks everywhere, and jostling one against another on the broadways. They shall seem like torches at nighttime. All the headlights, torches everywhere. They shall seem like torches. They shall run like lightnings. All the speed. It's not running like a chariot at 2 or 3 miles an hour. It's running at 100 miles an hour, or 80-mile speed limit, or 85 kilometers an hour, or whatever it might be. They're running. They shall seem like torches. They shall run like lightning. Nahum said that thousands of years ago. And you say, well, I don't know that that's automobiles. I don't know that that's this. What are broadways, interstates, turnpikes? They're everywhere. Streets, on and on and on. So it's not a precise thing, is what I'm saying. And everybody wants to say, so and so said this, and it didn't come to pass. Therefore, they are false. They are this or that. Leave that alone. Leave that alone. The interpretation is the Lord's. The Lord will bear them home on wings of an eagle, the book of Isaiah. And we watched them go home in gas chambers, burned at the stake, starved to death, died in camps, and rode to Israel on airplanes. That doesn't sound like wings of eagles to me. But it was a prophecy. It was a vision that even your prophet, William Branham, said. It was a vision of Isaiah, and he didn't know what to call a airplane. So he said they flew home on wings of an eagle. He seen them in vision flying home on those airplanes. So we have all these different things. Another one, in the book of Acts, Paul had a vision. And in the vision, an angel of the Lord, a man came, stood, and spoke to him and told him to go to Macedonia, and he would meet him there. Now, when Paul got to Macedonia, I'll ask you who he met. He met a woman named Lydia. And there they had a great revival in the house of Lydia, and Paul stayed there in Lydia's home for so long. Now, was Paul's vision false? It wasn't precise. It wasn't perfect. But he had a great meeting and a great movement, and a great thing of the Spirit of the Lord took place in Macedonia. And many of them said, "Oh, Paul, he's washed up. Alexander the coppersmith done him all kinds of evil, and no judgment came upon him. And Paul's this and Paul's that." When you have a vision, when you have a prophecy, let the Spirit interpret it. Let the Spirit interpret it, and stop thinking that every little bitty letter and detail has to be perfectly in order, or it's false. William Branham's prophecies and visions many times didn't match up. You say, wait a minute, Brother Parnell, they were perfect. They were this, they were that. Many times they didn't match up. He said he saw a self-driving car. He saw a car that was egg-shaped, and they were sitting in it, and it was driving itself. And Brother Branham said they were sitting there playing board games. Well, you tell me, they do have self-driving cars. They're not out to the public yet. But nobody's sitting in them playing board games if they have smartphones, and they're working those smartphones, and they're working those computers, and they're doing everything else. There's no board games. But William Branham didn't know what to call a smartphone. He didn't know what to call those things that he was watching them do. So when you get this understanding, it's easy to see how visions and prophecies really do happen, and we miss the most of them. Self-driving cars, playing board games while traveling, and there's just so many more things that the second ride. We said he's going to come back, he's going to set up this, he's going to set up that, and he's going to resurrect from the dead, and there's going to be a second ride, and the Holy Spirit's going to move like never before. He's going to set this tent up, the whole tent vision. I mean, now, come on. The whole thing about the tent vision. Did you know by the end of his ministry, he said, maybe this hookup line that I have that goes all across the United States, and the maybe the wires, uh, and the stakes and the poles and the that's carrying this message. He said maybe that's the tent ministry. He didn't know. He spoke it the way he seen it. And the angel of the Lord went above the tent vision. It went above the tent, and William Branham went on. And here we are. And the tent ministry is happening all around us, but it's nothing like what we thought it would be. Stop thinking that these visions are precise. Oh, he's coming back. He's got to come back. He's got to set his tent up in Des Moines, Iowa, because he said so. He's got to set his tent up in Los Angeles because he said so. Come on. He was a man. He was trying his best to fulfill a vision that he had, and he didn't get to fulfill it. And now we went through the second ride. All these symbols, prophets made a statement in the Old Testament that the Messiah would be the Lamb of God. The Messiah would be the Lion of Judah. The Messiah would. I didn't see Jesus walking around with 4 legs and looking like a lamb. And I certainly didn't see him out in the jungles of Africa looking like a lion. I didn't see any of those things. Those were prophecies and visions that had symbolic things in them. And that's what happens most of the time. And people miss the Lord. They stood right there looking at the Lion of the tribe of Judah, looking at the Lamb of God, and missing him completely because they wanted the prophecies to be perfectly as it said, exactly the way Moses said, exactly the way this one said or that said, instead of realizing that most visions and most prophecies and most dreams are all symbolic things. All symbolic things. Nothing precise about them. But they happen, and they're happening all around us, and it's real. Don't let the controversy get you under the rug where you say nothing's real anymore. It's real. Things are happening all around us. Love bless you. And we will see you Wednesday morning at 7:30 a.m.